Hey Virgo. Okay. The warning about this connection is serious. Subscribe immediately because your discernment needs sharpening now. There's individual in your relational orbit carrying energy that's toxic to your well-being. Someone whose presence in your life costs you more than any benefit their connection provides. And the universe is sending unmistakable signals through circumstances, through patterns you can observe if you're willing to see clearly, through your own body's wisdom that tightens when his name appears, that this person needs to exit your reality completely, not gradually, not partially, but with the finality of door closing and lock turning and key thrown away where you can't retrieve it in moment of weakness or loneliness or misplaced nostalgia. This isn't suggestion for temporary break where you revisit the connection later to see if things have improved. This isn't recommendation for boundaries that still leave channels of communication available for emergencies or special occasions. This is permanent severance. Complete cessation of contact. Absolute refusal to engage, regardless of what he says or does or promises or threatens, in attempts to pull you back into dynamic that's been slowly poisoning you. So slowly, you might not have recognized the poisoning until you're already sick from accumulated toxins, already diminished from sustained exposure, already less yourself than you were before. His influence started reshaping you into smaller is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than quieter. More convenient version that serves his needs while neglecting yours and the carefulness required. That acknowledges he likely won't accept your departure gracefully, won't simply let you walk away without attempting to reclaim the control he's been exercising, without deploying tactics designed to make you doubt your decision or feel guilty for your boundaries or question whether you're being too harsh or unforgiving. He might love bomb when he senses you pulling away, might promise change. He has no capacity or intention to sustain, might play victim so convincingly you start wondering if you're the problem, might turn hostile when manipulation doesn't work, revealing the anger that's always been there beneath whatever charm he's been performing. Your carefulness protects you from these predictable maneuvers, prepares you to hold firm when every instinct shaped by his conditioning tries to pull you back into familiar patterns that feel like home, even though home has been harming you. In the specific danger of connections that deteriorate slowly enough, you normalize what should alarm you. Red flags become pink when you're staring at them through fog of attachment. Abuse becomes acceptable when it arrives incrementally rather than all at once. And before you recognize what's happened, you're tolerating treatment you'd never accept if it had presented itself in first interactions rather than emerging gradually after investment made. Leaving feel harder than staying. He's been banking on that incremental normalization is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than consciously or unconsciously, building your tolerance for unacceptable behavior. By introducing it slowly enough, you kept adjusting rather than immediately rejecting, kept making excuses rather than making exits, kept hoping he'd return to version of himself he showed initially without recognizing that initial version was performance designed to hook you, while current version is reality you were never meant to see until you were already too entangled to leave easily. Let me illuminate what patterns might be active that warrant this complete separation. In the taxonomy of harmful relationship dynamics, certain signatures appear consistently when connection has crossed from merely difficult into genuinely dangerous for your psychological or emotional or even physical well being. Manipulation sits at the core of most toxic patterns. His reality becomes the only valid reality. Your perceptions get questioned until you stop trusting your own judgment. He rewrites history in ways that always cast him favorably and you negatively, until you're apologizing for things you didn't do and defending yourself against accusations that have no basis except his need to be right and you to be wrong. Your dynamic with him likely demonstrates exactly these manipulation patterns. Conversations where you walk away confused about what actually happened because his version contradicts your memory. Interactions where you end up comforting him about ways you hurt him when you're the one who needed comfort originally. Conflicts that somehow always resolve with you accepting blame regardless of who actually created the problem. Uh, this isn't love, and this isn't even difficult love worth fighting for. This is systematic dismantling of your autonomy, disguised as relationship. This is slow erosion of your self trust, disguised as caring enough to work through problems. And the work always flows one direction, always demands you change, never requires him to transform beyond surface level temporary adjustments he abandons once pressure releases. Watch for how your nervous system responds when his name appears on your phone, when you know you'll see him, when you're preparing to interact. Does your body relax or tense? Does your breath deepen or shallow? Does lightness enter or heaviness descend? Your body knows what your mind might still be rationalizing. Your nervous system registers threat. Your conscious thoughts are still making excuses for, and that somatic wisdom deserves your attention more than his words deserve your continued engagement. Some dangerous connections reveal themselves through isolation patterns. He doesn't directly forbid your friendships, but makes spending time with others so difficult you gradually withdraw. Creates drama around your outside relationships until maintaining them feels exhausting. Positions himself as only person who truly understands you while poisoning your perception of everyone else through subtle undermining comments that accumulate into worldview where he's safe harbor and everyone else is potential threat. This isolation isn't protective, it's strategic, cutting you off from outside perspectives that would confirm what you're sensing is less than hash zero. 5 hash is greater than from support systems you'd need to leave, from witnesses who'd validate that what's happening isn't normal or acceptable or your fault. You might be experiencing exactly this kind of systematic isolation. Friendships you've let fade because maintaining them while managing his responses wasn't worth the energy. Family relationships that have grown distant because his subtle or overt criticism of them made spending time with them uncomfortable. Interests or activities you've abandoned because he didn't support them or made participating in them require more justification than the joy was worth. Each concession felt small in the moment, reasonable even, but accumulated, they've created desert around your relationship. Eliminated alternative sources of validation or support or perspective made him your entire world, not because he's that wonderful, but because he's engineered circumstances where he's all you have left. Others show danger through volatility or aggression. His moods swing unpredictably, leaving you constantly monitoring and adjusting, trying to prevent next explosion. His anger feels disproportionate to triggers, creating an environment where you're walking on eggshells. His words cut with precision that reveals he knows exactly where your wounds are and aims directly for them when he wants to hurt you. This might not be physical violence yet, might be entirely emotional or psychological. But violence is spectrum, not binary. And the person who destroys your sense of self through words and control will often escalate to physical harm once they've sufficiently eroded your capacity to leave or your belief that you deserve better treatment. This reflection invites you to consider, which dangerous patterns do you recognize in your dynamic with him, even if you've been minimizing their significance? Let me clarify what never talk to him again specifically demands of you. Never carries weight of permanence, absolute quality that allows no exceptions. No special circumstances where contact becomes acceptable. No holidays or birthdays or mutual events where you make exception, because making one exception becomes crack and dam through which the entire toxic dynamic flows back into your life. Never means blocking his number, deleting him from social media, removing all digital and physical pathways through which he can reach you. And when he finds other routes, because toxic people always find other routes, having resolve to ignore, delete, refuse engagement, no matter what emotional manipulation or logical argument he presents for why this one time you should respond. In the absolute nature of complete no contact, there's recognition that partial contact or just friends or occasional check ins won't work with someone like him. These compromised positions only provide openings for him to resume patterns you're trying to escape. Only give him opportunities to demonstrate he's changed just enough to get you back, but not enough to be actually different in ways that matter. The door must close completely, must lock from your side, must stay closed, regardless of how hard he pounds on it, regardless of what he promises or threatens or claims through that closed door. It's essential you recognize that deciding to never speak to him again might be easier than actually maintaining that decision, especially in early days when your attachment is still active, when you miss even the toxic dynamic, because familiarity feels like home, regardless of how harmful home has been. When loneliness tempts you to reach out or respond when he reaches out. When your trauma bonded nervous system craves the very person who created the trauma, your commitment must be stronger than your cravings. Your wisdom must override your withdrawal symptoms. Your future self's well being must matter more than present self's discomfort with change and loss. Some people attempting complete separation face active resistance from the person being cut off. He might escalate contact attempts when his usual methods fail, might show up uninvited at your home or workplace, might use mutual friends or family as intermediaries, might create crises designed to pull you back into caretaking or fixing or engaging. These escalations are predictable, standard playbook for people losing control they thought they had. Final, desperate attempts to reestablish access before accepting that access is truly denied. Your safety during this escalation phase requires planning, requires support systems who understand the situation, requires documentation if behaviors become harassing or threatening, requires you holding firm rather than giving in just to make the discomfort stop. You need to prepare for exactly this kind of extinction burst is less than #0, 5 hashes greater than where his attempts to contact you intensify before they eventually cease, where he tries everything in his arsenal before finally accepting you're actually gone. Don't let the intensity make you doubt your decision. The fact that he's trying so hard to maintain connection doesn't prove the connection was valuable. It often proves the opposite. Proves he's losing something he was benefiting from, something he needs, which was your energy, your attention, your resources, your diminishment that allowed his false sense of superiority. Let him lose it. Let him rage or beg or manipulate into empty air. Let him discover that this time the door stays closed regardless of what he does. This reflection invites you to consider what support systems or resources would help you maintain no contact when maintaining it becomes difficult. Let me address what be careful with this person warns about specifically. Carefulness acknowledges he's potentially dangerous in ways beyond just being a bad partner or difficult person. There might be vindictiveness that emerges when he realizes he can't manipulate you back. Capacity for harm that he's kept somewhat controlled while he thought you were his to control, but that unleashes when control is definitively lost. Willingness to damage you if he can't have you, that reveals his professed love was actually possessiveness disguised as affection. The warning to be careful isn't paranoia, it's wisdom based on patterns he's already shown is less than has home. 0 hash is greater than based on how he's already treated you when things were supposedly good. Extrapolating reasonably that someone who mistreats you when you're available might mistreat you worse when you're leaving. In the particular danger of people who don't accept boundaries, they often interpret your self protection as attack on them, your leaving as abandonment that justifies retaliation, your refusal to engage as punishment that permits counter punishment, rather than recognizing these are natural consequences of their own harmful behavior. This cognitive distortion makes them dangerous because they genuinely believe they're victim in situation where they've been perpetrator, genuinely feel justified in whatever they do to you in response to your boundaries, genuinely can't or won't see that you're protecting yourself from them, not attacking them through leaving them. It's critical you take practical precautions during and after the separation. Tell trusted people what's happening. So you have witnesses. Vary your routines if possible, so you're less predictable. Document any contact attempts, especially if they become threatening. Trust your instincts if situations feel unsafe. Don't minimize concerning behaviors because you feel embarrassed about needing to take them seriously. Your safety matters more than appearing dramatic or paranoid. Your well being matters more than his feelings about your protection measures. Your right to leave matters more than his desire to maintain access, regardless of how he frames that access as love or need or connection. Some dangerous separations require legal intervention, restraining orders if harassment continues, police involvement if threats escalate, legal documentation of patterns in case protection becomes necessary. Don't feel uh, ashamed if your situation requires these measures. Don't let stigma prevent you from using tools designed exactly for circumstances like yours. Don't let his inevitable claims that you're overreacting make you doubt your assessment of your own safety. You know what you've experienced, you know how he operates, you know what he's capable of, even if others haven't seen it, because he performs differently for outside audiences than he behaves with you in private. This reflection invites you to consider, what specific safety concerns do you have about his response to you enforcing complete separation? Let me speak to what February 2026 specifically signals about timing and urgency. February, as time frame suggests, this separation needs to happen soon if it hasn't happened already. That conditions are aligning to support your exit. That waiting longer serves no purpose except prolonging harm. That the universe is creating opening for you to leave. And you need to take that opening while it exists, because openings can close. Because his behavior might escalate in ways that make leaving harder. Because your own resolve might weaken if you keep postponing action you know is necessary. The specificity of February isn't arbitrary. It's indication that something about this month makes separation more possible or more necessary, is less than #0. 5 is greater than, whether that's external circumstances creating opportunity, internal strength reaching critical mass, or cosmic timing aligning to support liberation you've been too afraid or too attached to pursue. In the sacred moment when leaving becomes possible, there's often brief window where fear hasn't yet paralyzed you, where clarity hasn't yet been clouded by his next manipulation cycle, where support systems are available, where practical circumstances align just enough that exit is feasible. This might be your window this February, and windows don't stay open indefinitely. Circumstances shift, opportunities pass, and you might find yourself 6 months from now wishing you'd acted when acting was easier, when the path out was clearer, when you still had momentum that's since been eroded by 6 more months of exposure to dynamics that diminish you. May you find courage to leave completely. May you trust your perception of his danger. May you protect yourself through absolute boundaries. May you never speak to him again, for your own preservation, for your own healing, for your own future. The warning is serious. The danger is real. The separation is necessary. Your well being demands his complete absence from your life. Remember this: leaving someone harmful isn't failure. Staying with someone harmful is not moral failure, but failure of self preservation, failure to honor yourself, failure to protect what's precious, which is you, your peace. Your joy is less than #0. 5# is greater than your actual self that's been slowly disappearing under his influence. You deserve relationship that doesn't require warning labels. Deserve love that doesn't come with instructions to be careful. Deserve partnership that enhances rather than diminishes. And you'll never find what you deserve while you're still accepting what he offers, which is dressed up harm masquerading as connection. Leave completely. Leave permanently. Leave now while February's energy supports your liberation. And never, never return to what diminished you. No matter how lonely you get, no matter how much he claims to have changed, no matter how tempting familiar dysfunction becomes when facing unfamiliar freedom. Never talk to him again. Be careful while leaving. Your safety is paramount. Your freedom is worth the fear of claiming it.